Welcome to part 2 of our Inuyasha series. My name's Mackenzie.
And I'm Kaitlen.
And this is Kikyo's Unforgiving Anime Podcast.
Woo! Meow. Okay. Warning. Fear, gore, language, sexual violence, and violence. Major spoilers ahead.
Major spoilers.
We're gonna spoil all of it.
What is Inuyasha?
Part 2.
Part 2. Here
You
we
just
go.
say, what is Inuyasha?
So in the beginning, it all starts with Kagome, although they give us a flashback. Episode 1. Let's talk about it.
Let's, because I have things.
So what did you think of the opening scene? Where Inuyasha betrays Kikyo. Kikyo betrays Inuyasha after he steals the jewel and, ransacks the village.
It's fantastic.
And then she's
It's
burning.
dramatic. It sets you up so good from the start. You know exactly what's going on. You're like, all right, here we are. This is happening.
Literally.
This is what the story is going to be.
That much action. So right off the bat, we see this scene where Kikyo's burning.
The scene.
So did you think that we were going to meet this Kikyo? Did you think after you saw that priestess burning in that very first scene, you would see her again?
I was hoping so. I was hoping to find out what happened to her.
Totally.
Because you're like, oh my gosh, the drama. I need to know.
No.
So I was hoping she'd come back.
Kikyo dies, and then we go into the scene with Kagome and Grandpa. And I don't know what Grandpa's name is, other than Grandpa.
Me either.
Because that's what everyone calls him. Oh, Grandpa! He's, giving her this, lesson about the Shikon no Tama, the Shikon jewel. Yeah. And then he gifts her for her 15th birthday, so she turns 15 right away when we start. And then Buyo runs off.
Buyo!
And she's looking for Buyo in this well.
Love Buyo.
And she falls into the well.
The centipede grabs her and then licks her face.
Literally, in the manga, they have that same scene of her name's Mistress Centipede. She licks Kagome's face, and then because Kagome has the Shikon jewel embedded in her and she was reincarnated with it, she sticks her hand out to try to protect herself, and her little priestess power shoots off one of the arms of the centipede, and then it drops to the ground in the well, and then the villagers capture her. And so this takes place, we haven't talked much about this, in the feudal era, also to be more specific, Sengoku era.
At first I thought she had gone to the future. And I was like, oh my gosh, she went into the future. And then they start saying that they're in the feudal era. Literally, they spell it out for you. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I guess she's in the past.
Totally.
The future past.
I really like that they told you, because there's a lot of things that happen. This is very fast moving.
Oh my goodness. I love it when she finds Inuyasha tied to the tree. And the first thing that she does is she's like, let me touch your ears. She goes, oh, look at those ears.
That's where the villagers capture her, right?
So cute.
The villagers see her doing that, and they say, come with us, demon. They think Kagome's a demon. So they bring her back to this village, and in the feudal era, I guess it's a time of the unknowing. So they're all, poking her, and they're like, look at this girl. She's a girl demon. What's with that weird get-up she has on? Yeah. And then when Kaede sees her, she says, ye look just like my sister
Bear
Kikyo.
ye it still? I love the way she talks.
So,
I giggled a lot.
Yeah.
I giggled a lot in season 1.
It's supposed to be comical, and it is.
They do it, it's I don't want to say dry humor, but it's a very, it is an ironic humor.
Back to Mistress Centipede. So, Mistress Centipede attacks the village after they freed Kagome, because Kaede saw that Kagome looked like Kikyo. The centipede attacks, and Kagome's like, I can help! And she literally runs out of the village as, everyone's trying to attack Mistress Centipede, and she ends back up at Inuyasha's tree.
And
Inuyasha wakes up.
She pulls the arrow out of him to save herself.
Yeah.
Because she's going to get crushed.
Yeah.
Against the tree. And so she pulls it out, and then he wakes up.
She literally says, I choose life. Because Kaede says, don't do it, girl! Don't wake Inuyasha. And Inuyasha's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to die? And then she sat there for a second, and she's like, I choose life!
I thought their voice actors were so cute. I understand now why you were like, you have to listen to the dub version, because they do a really good job.
They do a great job.
And I love when Kagome says, Inuyasha! Inuyasha! And I feel like a lot, even Shippo and the little flea
Yeah.
They're all really, like, adorable.
I really like the voice actors. Obviously, a lot of the anime I watch is in English, but people really say that when you watch dubbed versus subbed, like, there's just so much more emotion in subbed. And I haven't really watched a lot.
I like to alternate between dubbed and subbed.
Once Mistress Centipede pins them against the tree, and, like, now Inuyasha's awake, Inuyasha breaks out, and it's actually the first time he uses Iron Reaver Soul Stealer! Yeah. So, like, that is one of my favorite attacks that he does! Because every time I'm like, that's mostly it for episode 1.
Episode 2, the Carrion Crows.
Wait, one sec. Before the Carrion Crows, a couple things happen that are very important. Everyone's saying, like, the whole first episode and now the beginning of the second episode, the villagers in Kaede are all saying, like, no, not Inuyasha. Like, they're making you think this Inuyasha character is scary. And, like, you see first episode that he attacks the fucking village. So then he's trying to, like, hurt Kagome, right? He slays Mistress Centipede. He's trying to get the jewel from Kagome. Like, he continues to pursue her. But there's a point where Kagome and Inuyasha are running across a bridge after Kaede summoned the pearls. I think they're called the pearls of subjugation. And she needs to say a word of subjugation to hold Inuyasha's spirit. And Kagome's, like, panicking. And then she's like, sit, boy!
And he goes through the bridge.
Literally.
Into the water.
Literally.
I love it.
So Kikyo actually gave those pearls to Kaede before she died, just in case the arrow ever broke free from Inuyasha.
Oh.
She cared about him so deeply that she gave those to her younger sister and made her promise to one day help Inuyasha.
Oh. I didn't even think about it that deeply. I just thought that she wanted to put a collar on him once he got loose again.
She did.
In a way.
Because, see, Kagome was the one who made it like a dog thing and was like, sit, boy! Like, so they put the pearls around his neck, and then that
I drew them.
It literally creates one of the most iconic interactions in the entire series. Because she uses it, like, Kagome uses it all the time, and then I find myself in, like, these action and fight scenes, I'm like, just say sit, boy, and he'll be fine! He'll be fine!
It is cute. I like that they did that.
Yeah.
And they don't let it, like, they sprinkle it in. I love the sprinklings.
Yes.
They're so good at that.
After this happens, they're sitting in a hut, and they're all talking. The drawing pans out where it sees the hut that they're sitting in, and there's a crow on the tree. Did you notice that?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Foreshadowing? The crow?
What does that mean?
Foreshadowing?
He was sitting, so Inuyasha was on the hut, and the crow was in the tree.
Yeah.
And then Inuyasha looks at this collection of crows as more crows are flying to the tree. There was a bunch of them. And this episode was called Seekers of the Sacred Jewel, because now that the Sacred Jewel is in the feudal era, all these demons are attracted to it. They can sense it. So Inuyasha scares the crows away at the end of the episode.
I remember that.
Or at the end of the scene, I think it was.
I remember that.
Yeah, so...
It's coming back to me.
Kagome's, like, wandering back to the well because she's trying to get home. Like, her and Inuyasha were fighting, and she's captured by a group of bandits. The bandits bring her to their boss, who are fighting Kagome, and you then see his chest plate fall open after, like, Kagome strikes him, and the carrion crow is in there.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Which is cool.
Yeah.
They really, like...
I do think that was, like,
they're like, why? He starts swinging his sword, and they're like, whoa, boss. Like, is he drunk? Like, what? He's stumbling. He's, like, hitting his men with his own sword, just desperately trying to get Kagome. And then, finally, his chest plate falls off, and you see his dead body's being piloted by a crow.
Ah!
Yeah, and then you're like, as a viewer, you're like, oh my gosh, that's why he was stumbling. What a cool little thing to throw in there.
So Inuyasha eventually shows up, and he helps Kagome. But do you remember, while Kagome was fighting, let me know if you remember, what did she do so that she wasn't killed by this posse leader? Do you remember what she does?
She runs away?
She takes the Shikon jewel
she chucks
off
it
of her neck.
Right?
She fucking tosses it. Like, If you've watched season 1 of Inuyasha and you don't understand how powerful that Shikon Jewel is, you haven't been watching. That right
the
there
whole
was like,
thing too. It was before it got broke. She took the whole thing.
That's why it got broke, because she was dumb
and threw it.
Can you like,
Silly
it literally
girl.
made me look at Kagome and be like, you're so stupid.
I, by episode 3, fully understood where this season was going. Because you see the jewel break, and then they set up this whole monologue where they're talking about how their whole goal now is for Inuyasha and Kagome to work together to get these shards of the Shikon Jewel. And I was like, by episode 3, end of episode 3, I was strapped in. I'm like, I feel safe in this vehicle. I know exactly where our destination is, and I can't wait to see how we get there.
Rumiko created an expansive story. Where's the end? She wrote this story knowing that she could write these forever, because you see it break into a million shards. You're like, you don't know how many there is.
That was probably my one problem with the season, was there was a little bit much on the side plotting. I thought by the end of season 1, we were going to have the Shikon Jewel back in one whole piece, and that we would be, like, furthering the plot. And I'm not going to lie, the last episode of season 1 was a bit disappointing.
It was. I was
like, where's
the
my...
Temple of the Water God.
It was just another little side quest.
Yeah.
And I thought for sure the final episode would be like, all right, like, we'll leave a little cliffhanger. And for as good as the season is, that was the expectation that I had.
So I don't want to spoil
that
anything.
That was the only prob that I had, though.
I can't spoil anything for you. Like I told you, like, the loose ends are all tied up.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 6 seasons and 4 movies. So if you think that the ends are going to tie up season 1, you're so confused. Because she just kind of, with season 1, she kind of just showed you what she could do. If you liked it, I'll make more. Because I worked really hard on this and it was time consuming, and then people liked it. Mm-hmm. So then you get a season 2 that's like, season 2, just the difference when you go home to watch it. Okay. The difference between 1 and 2 is insane.
I can't wait.
To wrap up episode 2, Kagome, do you remember the boy that fell off the bridge? So now Inuyasha and Kagome are together. They're chasing after the jewel because the crow left the fucking posse leader's body. They're chasing the jewel that the crow swallowed.
The boy who fell off the bridge.
The crow grabs the boy off of the bridge and he drops the boy.
No, I don't remember that.
So the boy's drowning in this river, and Kagome and Inuyasha run up.
And now I remember.
Yes.
Because I took a video of her rescuing him and made it into an edit on TikTok.
She jumps in the water. Kagome jumps in. These villagers say, "She's a demon! Look, she's in the water!"
How is she swimming like that? She's like, it's the backstroke.
Like, was swimming not a thing in the feudal era?
I guess not. Or maybe not with such technique.
Right. And then she grabs the boy and swims with him, and they're like, how is she doing that?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize that it was like a time of the unknowing. So then she saves this boy. Inuyasha hit down one of the feet from the crow, and she pins it to the arrow, and she shoots the arrow at the crow because she's a horrible shot. We've seen that, right? And in this episode, we learned that Kagome is the reincarnation of Kikyo, and Kikyo was a master archer, right? Kagome fucking sucks. She was like shooting them, and they were like, yeah. So she pins this fucking foot to the arrow, and it hits the crow, but it shatters the jewel. Mm-hmm.
So and that's episode 3, and then you're like, all right, here we go. We're gonna find jewel shards. This is what the show's.
Did you want to know how many there were? Did that ever come across your, like, how many are there?
How many? Do you know?
No.
Oh.
No, I don't. I literally don't know.
I do. Now that you say that.
If someone could make, like, a guesstimate, an estimate, and let us know how many jewel shards there was when Kagome initially split it up based on the amount of missions they had to do to complete it at episode 3. So, towards the beginning of the episode, you see this demon wake up. Do you remember that? It's on our Instagram if you want to see a pic. And her name is Yura. Yura of the reverse hair. If we did a tier list of Inuyasha villains, Yura of the reverse hair would be, like, so close to the top for me. I think she's
really?
Oh my god, she is so badass. The red skull and the comb, how it snaps when Kagome fucking offs her. Yura was the first demon that actually posed like a threat to Inuyasha. Were you scared? I don't know, like when I was a kid and I was watching this, I would watch these episodes on repeat until the next seasons would come out. So like I'm watching Yura over and over and over and over, and I'm like, Inuyasha's gonna die. Like she's gonna kill him. Episode 3.
I don't know.
You never felt scared.
I didn't think
Inuyasha?
that she was gonna kill him, but I do like her design because I've never heard of a character who puppets dead bodies with hair. And that she has, like, a little hair collection.
And she sees Inuyasha's and she's like, oh, the silver hair, this is so pretty. I'm going to have to take a strand from my collection.
Yeah, I did think that she was very interesting.
The hair, Yura's hair, did you note that it actually traveled through the well?
It did.
Keep that up there. Remember that. And the viewers, remember that for future episodes in different seasons. Because there is some sort of background here as to what can or can't go through the Bone Eater's well. So then we go into episode 4 where they actually have to fight Yura, and the hair follows through the well, which is what we were just talking about. Grandpa, I don't know, again, if you remember, but Grandpa, after Kagome gets home, he's a priest in modern day, and he's the one who owns the shrine. That's a huge part of Kagome's life. He takes these seals and he goes to the well, and he's slapping them everywhere. Pop, 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 pop in the episode. And then he's praying, and he's like, we'll never see any more demons after that.
Yeah.
And he's like, Soda, Kagome, I sealed up the shrine. We won't be seeing any more of those demons from the feudal era. And like minutes later, they're having dinner, and Inuyasha slams the door open, and he's like, what are you doing back home? And Grandpa's like, ah! And he like falls out of his chair. Then we go into Kagome and Inuyasha kill Yura. She sees the red skull, she cracks it.
She does. It's a pretty cool scene.
I think
maybe we could do a Inuyasha season 1 villain
a tier list. Yeah, that'd be really cool. To wrap up episode 4, in the beginning of the episode, Inuyasha buries Kaede. At the end of the episode, you see Kaede buried in the dirt. And she says, you better not have forgotten where you buried me, Inuyasha. And we're going to go into episode 5 and 6. Okay. The episodes are called Aristocratic Assassin Sesshomaru. And then Tetsaiga, the Phantom Sword.
Which, love both of those. I liked his little moon.
You see Jockin and Sesshomaru, right? And Jockin's like, oh, my lord. And he says, I don't know if Inuyasha's whatever. Oh, their father, which his name was Toga. So they're looking for the tomb of Toga, Jockin and Sesshomaru, and they come across all these demons, and they can't find it. And Jockin kind of, like, mutters something with his staff. He's like, the staff's been acting weird. Like, I think Inuyasha's, like, back, too. Sesshomaru is just so set on, well, he's been pinned to a tree for 50 years. So he's obviously, like, kept tabs on him.
What makes him evil? Like, why is he so bad? Why does he want to be a demon so bad?
We'll find out.
He's got daddy problems and Inuyasha has mommy problems.
Yes, you will find out.
And he's not like, he's like the contrast of Inuyasha. He's so stoic and calm. And Inu's just like, shut up, you brat.
So they're at this place. And Miyoga, now we insert 3 new characters.
Miyoga the flea?
The flea is literally by Sesshomaru, and he hears them talking about searching for the tomb of Toga. And he's like, oh, I have to tell Inuyasha. So he runs to Inuyasha. Kagome, they like flash back, and Kagome brought all this medicine in this hut for Inuyasha because he got wounded by Yura. Rumiko was like, Kagome's gonna try to heal these people. What is she gonna bring back? Ibuprofen and Band-Aids. And then you'll see them with like a Coca-Cola or like a bag of chips. And she like brings it. Wait till you like see throughout the whole series. It's the cutest thing.
I have seen the bag of chips.
Or the
I know what you're talking
about.
Shippo
always has a soda. Shippo like sweet
If you were a 15-year-old girl, that would be what you would bring back for. You'd be like, oh my god, out of everything, they have to try this Coca-Cola.
Totally.
They're missing out. And the Tetsaiga, I think, is so cool, and I want a real life one.
So why are they going to the tomb?
To get the sword, the Tetsaiga.
Do you remember where the tomb was located?
They were in like a valley. It was like inside of their dad's corpse.
Yes. So Shomuru finds out and Inuyasha's awake and he goes to him. And they're fighting, right? And if you remember correctly, they use the Unmother to trick Inuyasha.
Oh, so that's why I wrote the Unmother spirit.
Yes.
I was like, looking at my thing, like, why did I write Unmother? And then I wrote OMG.
Oh my god.
Exclamation point, underline. And then she sacrifices herself for Inuyasha. Her motherly tendencies took over.
Yes, they did.
That was an interesting episode. I thought the whole idea of how to get the Tetsaiga to work for you is to be defending humans, and that's why Sesshomaru couldn't grab it, or like it burned him or poisoned him when he did. I think that's interesting, and it's cool that it's a sword that transforms.
The reason that you have to protect humans to use the sword is because the Tetsaiga was made for Inuyasha.
From their father's fang.
Yep.
And his father loved their mother, who was a human woman. So that's why I'm like, Sesshomaru, what's your problem? What is this complex that you have?
He comes up on Inuyasha, and they're fighting.
Be a full demon.
Literally.
And kill my brother.
No, he's already a full demon.
Oh.
Sesshomaru.
I thought they were...
He is a full demon, and they do say it in season
Same daddy, different mommy?
Yeah. Sesshomaru's
oh, yeah, because
mother,
that's why he uses Inuyasha's mom.
You'll meet her. Sesshomaru's a full-fledged demon.
Okay.
Inuyasha's a half-demon, and that's why the sword was made for Inuyasha. We're going to come across something in the future that was specifically made for Sesshomaru, and you'll see why. And that's going to tell you a lot about Sesshomaru's character and what Toga, their father, knew about both of their sons. What they needed.
I hope this happens next season because I'm interested. Anything else from episode 6?
Sesshomaru, after the Unmother thing, Sesshomaru stabs 2 fingers into Inuyasha's eye, and he pulls out a black pearl. And the black pearl, when he throws it on the ground, that's the portal
how they
to the Netherworld.
Oh,
yes,
right.
ma'am.
It's all coming back.
Yes, ma'am. So then, Sesshomaru, Jack, and jump in. Then Inuyasha's like, no, blah, 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 blah. And then Kagome jumps in. So Inuyasha's like, fuck. And Miyoga's like, oh, I don't want to go. And then jump in. And then they're in the Netherworld. And that is the Netherworld where Inuyasha's father, Toga, that's his true resting place. Because demons, they have to have a resting place. Some place that they're going to be undisturbed by other spirits. Because, like you saw with Mr. Centipede, they can cause things like teleportation or time travel, or like Toga is so big.
Trouble.
Miyoga says something how Toga could cause earthquakes if someone were to disrupt his like gravesite. And then they're fighting there next episode. They're tearing it down.
They do.
They're tearing it down.
And that was interesting to watch. Sesshomaru goes full demon. He becomes like that big white
his
dog.
True form.
And, may I say, beautiful big white dog.
I know. And he always wears the same clothes, just like Inuyasha. I think that's a feudal era thing. You have one outfit.
I do not like Miyoga.
Miyoga's like a perverted old man who is super cowardly.
He is there for comedic relief, and I think that Shippo is so much better for that. Miyoga, I think they gotta just let... There was a point at the end of the season where Miyoga hadn't come up in a couple episodes, and I was like, thank God we forgot about him. And then he popped back up, and I'm like, oh, shit, he's back. He's just, I don't like him. He's not that funny to me.
But he's a bug.
He's
Do you
a
see?
flea.
You're annoyed by him.
I am
annoyed
by him.
And that's exactly what she wanted you to be. They made him a flea that bites.
You're right. He's annoying to everybody else.
That's how deep this anime is.
Yeah, he annoyed me. I didn't like him.
She did what she was supposed to do with the character and made you feel a certain type of way.
You're right.
They're fighting, and Kagome breaks the fucking sword. She's the one who breaks the seal on the sword.
She does. She grabs it.
Yep.
And it's kind of a funny moment.
Yeah.
And the whole time they're fighting, you're starting to hear these derogatory terms being used towards Inuyasha from Sesshomaru, calling him like a dirty half-breed. And you even get the flashbacks to when Inuyasha was a little boy.
And they were playing the ball.
And he gets like abandoned by the townspeople. They all turn their back on him because he's like half demon, half human. And that's shameful.
And then he runs to his mom. His
makes you
mom's
sad.
crying. And he says, don't cry. And Inuyasha wasn't mad. because they were calling him names. He was mad because he saw his mom cry.
Yeah, they called them having dirty blood.
Yeah.
Sad.
Because, like, you can relate
and then
that
he keeps
to
telling
so
us,
many...
how could you tell your own brother to die?
Literally.
Die, Inuyasha. I was like, so cold. For what? Who hurt you, Sesshomaru?
And
why are you so beautiful?
A lot of his hatred comes from these few episodes that we're talking about, because they show you that even in death, the first person that their father Toga thought of was Inuyasha, and Sesshomaru despises him for that, because Inuyasha's a half demon, and he's like, what? Why did you choose the half demon to give your prized possession? Who did you think of in death? So that's a little bit of it, not all of his anger, but a little. Episode 7, the Tetsaiga transforms, and it's because, like, it's what beautiful. You said, they're defending, Inuyasha's defending humans. He hasn't, though. We've been talking a lot about the different attacks. Like, he has Iron Reaver Soul Stealer,
yeah.
Blades of Blood. You know those two? He hasn't developed a move for the Tetsaiga yet.
It's coming.
Oh yeah.
I think that episode 8 was pretty much just filler to me. It was when everybody's asleep in the castle, the Frog King is possessed, and he's
the
luring
Frog
girls.
Prince, who's like a demon or whatever, right?
He's eating them involuntarily. Somebody's like possessing his body. Mm-hmm. I think one of the Shikon Jewel fragments, right?
Yes.
Something.
He is a Shikon Jewel fragment, and that's what drives him crazy.
Yeah, they flick it in his head. Naraku flicks it in, or no, maybe he flicks it at the boar guy. Somehow Naraku, I think, is involved.
He is.
Making the Toad King eat the women.
But
it felt like mostly filler.
Did you find out with the Shikon Jewel how it can be tainted? Like what happened with Kohaku and Sango, right?
Yes, depending on who possesses it.
Yes, 100%.
Oh god, I went hard on this page. Episode 9.
Episode 9, talk about it.
The Thunder Brothers.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're bringing it up.
It was filler, but it was funny filler, because the one Thunder Brother who was like so focused on his hair, I thought it was the most hilariously drawn and animated. I was like into it. I was like fully acknowledging. Yeah. Like, it's just like so stupid that it's almost just like it's actually great.
It's
in the
humorous.
Best way.
It's so humorous.
You'd never think that, like, feuding brothers over, like, the amount of hair that you have. And the one, he's, like, brutal when he, like, kills that girl.
High Time.
I was shocked. When he turns around, he just burns her.
Yep.
He's like, oh, you're no... Look what I'll do. And Kagome's like, oh.
And they're, like, those were, like, broads.
She's crisp.
That they had.
Yeah.
Like, they had broads over.
She was beautiful. And he just burns her to a crisp. And then the other brother's like, oh, if I only had hair, I'd be loved like my other brother. And then Kagome shoots the arrow, and it hits his last 3 strands of hair, and he's like,
he's literally,
I'm bald!
And then he unleashes
and then he dies.
Thunder thing, and he's... He
dies.
Yeah.
It's comical.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
My favorite brother is definitely High Ten. When I was watching the show as a kid, I was like, High Ten is so cool.
Yeah.
Love him.
Cold.
With his fucking spear. His, like, little thunder spear.
His disregard for the ladies.
Yes. Yeah, he actually doesn't care.
Well, he literally murdered her. So, did you remember, like, the cut where they cut to her corpse, like, after the conversation? Like, he burns her, it's all graphic, she falls to the ground, they continue talking, and then right at the end of the scene, they cut back to her, like, just shriveled little body. And I'm like,
burning?
This is disturbing.
The, like, fucking smoke rising from the body.
Yeah, that was a fun... What did I say? Monten died because he bald, LOL. My hair has fallen. Meanwhile, he has a ponytail, LOL. He did have a ponytail on the back of his head.
He did.
After his last 3 hairs fell out, he had a little ponytail. But I was like, we can ignore this.
That's what he...
plot hole.
What was his name?
Monten did.
Yes.
He wanted to cook Kagome into a stew. For hair potion. Stew.
They didn't just have broads over. They were there for his hair stew.
To cook their bodies into hair potion.
That. Yes.
But
I
don't even know. I thought it was funny.
It was. I thought that, like, that was more of, like, a plot for me because you got to meet multiple people. Like, that was a little more exciting to meet, like, a group of people that they were fighting rather than just, like, one stand-up demon.
The writing is well done.
Yes. It's because it's derived from a manga. Then we meet Shippo. Let's talk. So we meet Shippo.
Shippo.
I don't think Shippo's essential to the plot at all. It's an opinion. It's an opinion. It's not because I've seen more than you or, like, drop comments and let me know if you think Shippo should be in the series or not. I just think he could have been, like, a pass-by where, like, it was one of the filler episodes where they go and they save him because his story is really great.
Just like the Fleet. Like,
yeah, like, they have a lot. No.
Use him and lose him.
No, Miyoga is so... This is opinion-based. I think Miyoga is essential to the plot.
Thank you for watching episode 2 of our Inuyasha Season 1 series. Episode 3 will be coming out shortly. It will be our final episode of this series. And we hope to see you there.
This is Mackenzie.
And Kaitlen.
And we are Kikyo's Unforgiving Anime Podcast. Thank you for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, share.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.